So, graphing inequalities. Say you're given a problem where you are to graph the inequality and identify the solutions. What does that mean? Well, you graph this line and look for any points that are below this line. Okay? So, points below. So, the line we care about what is below. So, your first step, here's an example 1. You will write the problem down. Y is less than, because it's smaller on the left-hand side. This is a less than sign. Make sure you know your signs. We're going to make sure you have that in your notes here. But y is less than -3/4 x minus 2. So you will put this in Desmos or graph it by hand. So make sure you're sketching -2. And then there's your starting point, -2. And then you go up 3, 1, 2, 3, into the left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's -2, up 3, 1, 2, 3, left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, because it is negative. It's a negative slope. This is a dashed line, so we're looking for any line, any points that are below this dashed line, not on it, but below. So over here, you could write your notes that this means less than the line. This one means less than or equal to the line. Okay, so below the line, so this way, looking for points below it. This is greater than the line. This one is greater than or lesser, greater than or equal to. Greater or equal, so on the line, okay? So if you were to draw a line, which ones are greater than? As long as y is over here, y has to be on the side. Y is less than, so the line we're looking for what's below. These ones are greater. This one here is dashed. This one's either on the line or below the line, on the line or above, so it's equal to the line. Okay, this one's dashed, so it's only below. Okay, so let's look at the points here. Write your points down: 0, -2, -2, -2. Write that down. That way you can go through them. 0, -2, and you would say yes or no. -2, -2, 8, 4, or -8, 4, -8, 4, and then 2, 2. And you just ask yourself, is this point below the line? That's it. Or is it on the line, right? If it was a line underneath here, like this, then you look for points that are on the line. So let's look at 0, -2. 0, -2. That's on the line. No. We don't want, that's not a point that is below the line, right? So nope. -2, -2, -2, -2. So go ahead and label your points. This one's A. -2, -2 is B. Yep. That point is below the line. So your question for the day is, which points are below the line for this particular inequality, right? Or which point is on or below? Or which point is greater than the line? Which points are greater on the line? So make sure you know what question you're asking yourself. It's just basic logic that you're using, you're locating. Look and see, that's it, okay? -8, 4. -8 is over here, 4. Well, we have to actually graph this out to see it. So this one might be, we don't know. Then 2, 2. Make sure you look at all your points. It might be select all that apply. 2, up 2, that's D, right? That's point D. That's not below the line, so no. Let's look at this one, -8. This will be 5, 6, 7, 8, up 4. It might be. Let's graph it out to make sure. And so you can graph this perfectly on graphing paper, but this is just a sketch. And so you can do it by hand, but I'm going to show you on Desmos graphing or any kind of online graphing calculator that you have. That way you can for sure see it. So this is another way you can do it as well. That way you can see both. You graph negative 3/4 x minus 2, negative 3/4 x minus 2. There's a line. Does it look like this line here? Oh, look at that. It looks pretty good. All right, so negative 3/4 x minus 2. You don't put the y less than because it does not take that. It's asking for you to draw the line and you figure out which points are below. If you put in y below, it's not going to graph anything. That's not a line, right? You need to graph the line. You can put y equals if you want. You graph the line, and then you're asking yourself which points are below, okay? So that's your first step, right? You graph the actual line, okay? So y equals the negative 3/4 x minus 2. Then you ask yourself which points are in, it could be point or points are in the solution set. So above, below, on the line, that's the question you ask yourself. Make sure you know these symbols. So we've got the line, right? And go ahead and plot your points on Desmos or any graphing calculator that you have if it lets you do it. 0, negative 2. Go ahead and 0, negative 2. Okay. 0, negative 2. You're going to label this one A. And then go ahead and plot negative 2, negative 2. Again, this is our question, right? You plot all your points given. Negative 2, negative 2. So negative 2, comma, negative 2, parentheses. Label that one B. And then negative 8, 4. Label as C, and then 2, 2, that's D. So this is the cheat way, right? This is the by hand way. If we had graphing paper, we would have more room to see. Label this one D. Which points are below the line? Okay. There's only one point below the line, the green one, right? So B is your answer. Okay. So it looks like negative 8, 4 was on the line. I had a feeling was on there. There you go. That's not a point that's in our solution set. It's not below, right? Here's the by hand way of doing this. You can also substitute your points. I'll show you by hand and in the calculator. So we have y is less than negative 3/4 x minus 2. You can also plug in points. So let's go ahead and try A. So this one's x and this one's y. So you label x and y. Write down your inequality. And where you see a y, go ahead and put negative 2 less than negative 3/4 x. Where we see an x, put a parentheses, so 0, 0, minus 2. You can do this in your head. What is negative 3/4 times 0? 0. Minus 2 is negative 2, right? 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Oops, why do I have this on here? This is just the less than. Is negative 2 less than negative 2? No, it's equal to it, right? So this one's not going to work. So you go through all of them. You try it again. Y less than negative 3/4 times negative 2. Try the next point. This should be negative 2, right? Make sure this is negative 2. Minus 2. Minus 2. Negative 3/4 times negative 2. Minus 2. Your y is negative 2. as well. So what is 3/4 of negative 2? Well, 3/4 of 2, this goes in there once, twice. So that's what, 3/2, negative 3/2. Well, positive, negative, negative, multiplied as a positive 3/2. Subtracted 2. What's 3/2 subtract 2, right? That's 1.5. 1.5 subtract 2 is negative 0.5. Is negative 0.5 greater than negative 2? Is negative 2 less than negative 0.5? Is negative 0.5 greater than negative 2, right? Yes. That's the answer. Here is the calculator way. You're going to go ahead and put your inequality symbol. Well, let's do it on here. Okay, so you can also put it here, y less than, so control equal. Pick your less than symbol. Enter. Y is less than negative 3/4 times the x value, which is 0, parentheses, minus 2, so minus 2. Make sure your y, you go back over there and put negative 2. So delete the y and put negative 2. Is negative 2 less than negative 3/4 times 0 minus 2? Hit enter. Enter. What does it say? False. It's not, right? So that's how you can do that. Let's try the next one. Negative 2. Control equal. Pick your correct symbol that's given on your paper. Y, negative 2 is less than, that's y, negative 2 is less than negative 3/4, so negative 3 divide 4, parentheses means times, so negative 4, parentheses x. So what is your x value? What is your x value? Your x value is negative 2, parentheses, minus this original 2 given, right? So negative 3/4 x minus 2. Negative 3/4 x times this negative 2 minus 2 gives you this negative 2. Is that true? Is negative 2 less than negative 3/4 times negative 2 minus 2? That should be head math. If not, you hit enter. What does that say? It's true. So that means B is correct. So you could just put it in the yellow calculator and do true and false statements. To be honest, by the time you type all that out, you could have done it in your head, especially this one, right? Negative 3/4 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 2. Negative 2 is not less than negative 2. It's not true. It's equal to it, right? So that's why A is not correct. So either way, or you can just graph it and visually see it. So that's how you do these problems. This way is good for problems like, I will show you this one. When you cannot graph this easily, okay? So when you see in this format where y is not by itself, again, when y is not by itself, y is by itself here. If y is not by itself, do true and false. So for example, let's do this one. Without even graphing it, you can plug these points in. So you substitute points, you plug them in, and see if it's true or false. Again, it's asking, graph the inequality and identify the solutions. We're not going to graph this just yet, but let's at least do the second question. Identify the solutions. Is A a solution of this inequality? Go over here and put in 3 parentheses x. So if you see an x, put in parentheses. What is our x value? 0. So parentheses 0, close parentheses. 3 times that x value. 3 times that x value. Take away. for the y, so parentheses. Wherever you see an x or y, put parentheses. Wherever you see an x or a y, put parentheses. 3 times this x value of 0, take away 4 times this y value of negative 0.5, so negative 0.5, write it just how you see it, negative 0.5, over, is greater than control equal. Look for your greater than symbol. There it is. And hit enter. Is greater than 2. Is that true? What is 3 times 0? Take away 4 times negative half. Is it greater than 2? You can do that in your head. What's 3 times 0? 0. What's half of 4? 2. A negative times a negative is a positive. Is a positive 2 greater than a 2? No, it's equal to it, right? Well, let's see. Enter. It says false, which we just said. 3 times 0, take away negative 4 times negative half is not greater than 2. That's head math. But you can also do it in here. It will tell you true or false. So keep going until you find the true one. Now, in some questions, you might have select all that apply. Which solutions or which points are true? Or which points are in the solution set? Make sure you try all of them and select all that are true, right? Or all that are false. Which points are not in the solution set? So if it says which points are not in the solution set, make sure you're careful. You train your brain. I'm looking for points that say false, right? So make sure you read the question and double check what it's asking. And then also double check your entries. As you see what I'm doing, I'm always double checking 3 times 0, 3 times 0, minus 4 times the y, negative 5, negative 0.5, greater than 2. That's the biggest thing, is double checking your entries. Okay, so let's go ahead and do another one together in person here, and we're done.